Some drama in the governor's race, and we break down that Cranston ticket blitz story one more time. Good evening. Nice to have you along, and thank you for joining My State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke, weeknights 7:30. We repeat 11:30 every night, and of course you can find the show on foxprovidence.com/myritv. Click on, Dan Yorke State of Mind, and every episode that you miss, you can find it right there. Tonight, the two counselors that are at the center, the core of this Cranston ticket blitz caper, they're here again amidst the latest developments, wacky as they are, as the police chief is exited stage left, at least temporarily, in the city of Cranston. And of course, the mayor of Cranston is in the news again today. Let me jump to my rundown, which is short today because I want to. It's quality versus quantity today. Big day for Gina Raimondo. Very tough day for Alan Fung, and great day yesterday for the Pats. Although, if San Diego, would have been a different story. Real quick, yes. Gina Raimondo announces today, announces kickoff because she had that really, really cheesy video that she did, at the Christmas tree, kind of like a Mrs. Rogers type of announcement back at Christmas time for governor. But today she had a much better day. Here's a headline, projo.com, outlining bold progressive agenda. She kicks off her campaign for governor. Let's throw a little bit of a highlight, some of the video. I was there at the spot in Pawtucket today. Really nice spot. It was a nice crowd, kind of a good energy event.
Everybody ready for this? I'm ready for this, and Rhode Island is ready too. Let me begin by telling you how much I'm already enjoying 2014. Because finally, I can answer the question that everybody asked me all year last year, which is, are you running for governor? And what's the answer? Yes! Yes, I am running for governor, and today I am kicking off my campaign to seek the Democratic nomination for governor.
And so it comes with all the hoopla there, a little bit of disingenuousness there. I am one of those people who was peppering Gina Raimondo to come clean on this election as she was amassing more than a couple of $1 million in campaign funds, right? And the last time I spoke with her, and I ran some of the audio here for you from my radio show, she got very testy with me. Like, when I decide, I'll decide. That was in November. And so if you listen carefully to her there, she's saying, oh, now I can say what we all knew what was going on in 2013. So, look, is that something that we're going to whack her for going forward? No, but it's just all part of the manipulation of politics. And by the way, I don't stand for it pre-campaigns, during campaigns, or after campaigns. And guess what? Neither should you. However, on par, on balance, Gina Raimondo made a very, very powerful presentation today. Frankly, on aesthetic points, the best gubernatorial announcement of that kind of all the candidates who have had that kind of announcement. She went after the firefighters who were outside her door once again at the Hope Artiste Village, which is a nice spot. Go to their Saturday flea markets or their farmers markets, whatever they call them. I like to go down there with my wife. They're really nice. She went after the firefighters who are chasing her around, saying, I'm not scared. I'll have some of that for you as we go over the course of the week, break up some of her thoughts. She laid out a proposal, though, that is very left of center. So while she had a terrific command and weaved her family story in and out, I think deftly, high level, she is way left of center and wants to spend a lot of our money. So it's going to be very interesting to see how she comes out. Here the unions don't like her, but her politics are very left, only to be matched by Angel Tavares' a little lefter politics. And I won't mention Clay Pell because he's not in the race yet. So very interesting as to how this whole thing is going to come down. But we got ourselves a governor's race. Now, on the other side, here we have Alan Fung having a very, very difficult day. An awful tragedy. The headline in the paper, Fung recounts fatal road accident from his youth. Look, I'm going to take a couple quality minutes here, okay? This is a very hard story. Alan Fung, back when he was 18 years old, a few days before his 19th birthday, reportedly swerved across 95, hit a pedestrian who was, a driver, pedestrian, who was fixing his tire, and 41-year-old James Skiffer died from the impact. Was thrown 96 feet, whatever. The story was in the paper today. First of all, the Journal's decision to take this story and write it as if it's a PR piece for Alan Fung was despicable. Just despicable. I applaud great journalism in the Journal when it comes, and I'll tell you when there's not. So, see, here's the thing. Alan Fung tries to proffer in this story that that because word was out and chatter was going on about this story, and he notes a Republican and Democratic supporter. I don't know if that means of him. I think it's of others who were chattering about this and asking him about it, that he felt like he had to get ahead and tell the story. First of all, the records on this thing were expunged more than 10 years ago. What the Journal should have done is say, you know what, before we tell your story the way you want it told, we'd like to see the expunged records, or do your best you can to waive those records being made open again. So we'll determine for ourselves how we position the story. They didn't do that. Very lazy. Secondly, Fung tries to kind of assert that while he did talk about this to reporters some 10 years ago after filing some kind of a Q&A type of thing to run for city council, that the Journal didn't report it. And so I guess he kind of went, whew, and didn't have to talk about it, he thought. And so he was elected to council and the mayor 3 times and never brought this up to the public. Now, because he says it's kind of on the street, he wanted to beat everybody to the punch and make sure everybody understood about this. Today he had a press conference, a roundtable type of thing at a local restaurant. I found this picture on Twitter, courtesy Mr. Bender there, where he's having kind of this, this home meeting with the reporters. It must have worked, because so far I can't tell that they asked any of the questions that should have been asked, which is, number one, A, will you call for those records to be unexpunged? Is that a word? And B, who are these supporters of others that came to you and started to pepper you on this? And where do you get off, Mayor, doing the following, which is to suggest to supporters. I'm looking at my own iPad of an email he put out today, that he's asking them to give him the opportunity to fulfill a pledge that he made years ago, the day of this accident, that he was going to get into public service. The whole thing is all over the map. Look, I want to say this as carefully as I can. Alan Fung shouldn't be penalized from high office for this accident. But the handling of this story should bring great penalty. When you are running for an office as significant as mayor or governor, and you've got this on your life story, it is up to you to own it, it is up to you to explain it, and it's up to you to live with it. Not to have group counseling sessions with reporters, not to be, weeping with them in and out. This is not social therapy time. And it's not the constituents' responsibility to have to deal with this either for you. They would have evaluated, because the human spirit is kind, that this was an accident, that you were upfront about it years ago, and that it's part of your life, but you've put it in a place. Instead, now it comes out after you've announced for governor, in the middle of a Cranston ticket blitz, which is a mess, and you look like you can't handle your business, Alan. Sometimes you got to say in the middle of a campaign, maybe I'm not ready for prime time. The accident itself should never rule him out for running for governor. The way he's handled it, in my humble opinion, should. And he can come here and I'd be happy to tell him that. And most of all, remember this victim. We've all driven past somebody on the highway and said, be careful. This time the number was in the wrong place. God bless him. Just crazy. We'll have more on this as the week goes on. When we come back, we'll talk to a couple of city councilors in Cranston. I'm sorry. You know what? Thank you. I'm so engaged in this story that I thought I'd make the transition. On a happier note, the Pats. See, did you hear Jess yelling at me? Pats, stupid, Pats. Kev, stop laughing at me. Pats to Denver. Yeah, good for them. A battle for the aged. Okay, 36 and 37, respectively, for the quarterbacks makes them old. You know what? I'm old. They're not old, and it's going to be a classic battle. Too bad San Diego couldn't pull a last-minute comeback and send that game to Gillette. But I feel good about the Pats, actually, winning this thing. I really do. Denver's got a hell of a running game going on right now, but guess what? So do the Pats. All right, when we come back, the Cranston City Councilors on that parking ticket blitz and some new developments Weird ones. Stay with us. Welcome back in. So here's the latest headline in the Cranston ticket blitz situation. The Cranston mayor places police chief on paid leave during parking ticket probe. We've done our best to stay contemporary with this story. I have to tell you, this was easy to handle when it was easy to handle. But since then, it hasn't been so easy to handle. And here's a great timeline Eyewitness News put together on it.
The Cranston ticketing controversy started back on November 14th at a meeting of the City Council's Finance Committee. The committee voted to reject a new police contract. Then, over the next 2 days, 2 councilmen who voted against the contract claimed there was a spike in the number of parking tickets issued to their constituents. They told us 128 tickets were issued in their wards compared to only 5 in the next closest ward. On December 16th, council members Paul Arquetto and Stephen Stikos disclosed the information about the parking tickets at a city council meeting. They claimed a high-level officer ordered the tickets issued as retaliation for voting no. The next day, Cranston Mayor Fung and Police Chief Colonel Marco Palumbo said they were launching an internal investigation into the charges. On December 23rd, Mayor Fung announced he had hired a private investigator to look into the allegations. And by Wednesday, January 8th, the councilors asked that the Rhode Island State Police launch their own investigation into the ticketing scandal. On Thursday, Fung announced the state police were taking over the investigation, saying a number of police officers are under suspicion of misconduct. And this afternoon, Fung announced at a press conference that Chief Palumbo had been placed on indefinite paid leave as the investigation continues.
How great was that? It was a really good report. The events aren't too terrific. Steve Stikos and Paul Arquetto are the counselors. Welcome, guys. You were back. You were here a couple of weeks ago.
Nice to be back.
I said at the beginning, this could have been simple.
Very much so.
Am I right? It could have been simple. Not that simple now.
No,
It's messy. Now, you know, the people of Cranston don't have their police chief right now, and the state police, not that the state police being in there is a bad thing, ever, you know, but they're a stabilizing force, and I trust them. Do you?
Yes.
Do you?
Yep.
Yeah, but it didn't have to get here from there, it seems to me, unless there's some funny business here that we really don't understand. We don't have to recount the story. You guys are in the middle of this. What was your reaction to the chief of police being relieved on Friday?
I mean, we had a briefing with the state police on Friday, an hour and a half. Steve and I met with Chief O'Donnell, Lieutenant Colonel Winquest, Major
Just
Todd,
you two from the council?
Todd Catlow, and Captain Barney. And basically, we explained to them what we had, what we know. They asked us a few questions about the wards and the areas in which we had the ticket information. So that was a start on Friday. And of course, Steve and I had the resolution that we were going to introduce.
Well, it's funny because if you recall, back when we first did the show, I said, why don't you guys create a resolution to go to the state police? And you said, geez, I don't know if that works. Well, obviously, you thought about it, and it works. And your en route to getting it approved on the city council to ask for a state police investigation, and then the mayor came in underneath your council meeting with the announcement that the state police were going to take over the investigation. Am I correct about that?
right. We have to give public notice whenever we're going to discuss anything before a city council meeting, so it went on the agenda to be discussed on Thursday, and
I found it curious that the mayor was charging the council with being political when I thought that his calculation to bring the state police in after he dragged his feet so long and after your resolution was pending to call for that very thing was as political as what he was charging politics to be. Did I miss something?
This is the farthest thing from being political. This is about First Amendment rights, the right of a councilman to voice his opinion on any legislation. And Alan should know that, the mayor should know that. He's an attorney. This is about police abuse power. This is about selective enforcement. This is about a retaliation from a special interest group. This is what this issue is about. And I'm happy that Deanne Yorke's involved, Buddy Cianci's involved, John DePietro's involved, and they were well aware when they saw the news article on what was going on. They were able, and they helped us immensely, believe me.
What do you mean?
When you read that article, I'm sure you could realize that.
Which article? It's been 100 of them.
The original article about the ticket blitz and the amount of tickets that were issued.
It's clear. I mean, that's why you were here the last time.
The compelling evidence is clear.
Sure, no doubt about that. But you know, I find it too bad that we're in a situation now where the mayor came late to the idea that he ought to have a pure investigation, and he had a hybrid. He had an internal affairs investigation, and then after pressure, he hired an outside consultant. Do you know if that guy's getting paid, by the way? I mean, he was hired. Is he getting some kind of an out check of some kind?
Well, that's on the agenda for Thursday night as
let
well.
Let me
What is
explain
he-
the process there.
Real quick, we gotta go.
Anytime we have to go out to bid, it was never sent out to bid. So he picked
Hire the
that.
consultant, you mean?
Correct, and there was no money allocated by the council.
Yeah, okay. Crazy. When we come back, though, these guys will have some running room here to talk about what's really at stake, and now some charges that they're all full of it, and the police union reportedly wants to sue them.
I'll let you go there.
Stay with us. Be right back.
You take that.
This was the press conference on Friday when Mayor Alan Fung from the city of Cranston announced that that gentleman, Chief Palumbo, would be put on paid administrative leave, which was kind of like a what? And so if we follow this story on the Cranston Ticket Blitz, when the internal report came from Chief Palumbo to the mayor, it was then only moments after that he decided that he was going to put the chief on leave. Paul Arquette and Steve Stikos are the counselors who are the first ones to complain about their wards being peppered with tickets the day after they voted no on this police contract. Do you have any idea what's going on with the police chief situation and why he's been asked to take a break?
No. I
None.
was
Zero.
completely surprised.
There's been
when
no
I-
council briefing on that of any kind?
None whatsoever.
So the people can't know. I don't think this is a Bill of Rights protector. When the chief has been removed for a specific purpose, I think the people deserve at least to have a cursory understanding of what it is that is the problem, right? Yes, no?
Well, I would think so, and the fact is he's getting paid now, and he's not doing anything. So how long is that going to go on?
That happens often, though, in official capacity problems, but I don't know that he can ever come back. I don't think the correct question was asked at the press conference, which is, do you see when this investigation is completed the chief coming back as chief? Without a yes answer, I don't know that means no. No means no. Yes would be peculiar. But there's no way that chief can have the equity to come back and run that department if he's been asked to leave during this all-important investigation. Yes, no? Do you agree with me on that? He's done.
Right,
He's cooked.
Whether he's guilty of anything or not, aspersions have been cast about him, and he's going to have a very difficult time reestablishing his
Let
credibility.
me ask you, from your council purview, do you have the charter right to ask the chief to come and answer questions about
we
this
do.
process?
Yes, we can subpoena. We have subpoena powers, or we can request any department head before the city council.
Have you thought about doing that?
Yes.
This might be
we've
the
thought
second
about it,
time
but-
I've said, have you thought about doing something? You guys, I don't know, and then maybe you do later. Who knows?
Right, that might happen,
Yeah.
but we're surprised by what's happened, and there also is the law enforcement officer's Bill of Rights, and I don't know if that covers him or.
You had a feeling last time around that we talked when you were here that this decision to issue the tickets through whatever officers executed went very high up.
Right.
Did you think it was the chief you were talking about?
No.
And we don't
But I
know
didn't
that's
know.
the chief we're talking about, but
Right.
the union president, who's a captain, has been rumored to be at the helm of this. Do you have anything else to fill in on that?
I don't have any more
No.
details on that, but I think it would be helpful if these people came forward and said what they knew.
And end what it's not Watergate. I mean, this is like a fairly pedestrian misdeed on the part of the police department. It seems that's become bigger than life now.
Steve hit on a good point. This is the opportunity for those officers that wrote us the anonymous letters to come forth and tell the state police what they know. And they're the real heroes, because this all wouldn't have happened
You know what?
unless we got the inside information.
I hear that, but anonymous letters, don't ever put a hero label on an anonymous letter writer. You know, I get enough of them. Here's what Joe Rodeo, attorney for the police union, said about these two guys on the Buddy Cianci radio program last week.
We're going to file a lawsuit against the two councilmen who've been trying to propagate this process and also have obstructed our contract from going through. It's got nothing to do with the tickets.
Yeah.
But we're going to get to the bottom of why they spun this the way they did,
Yeah.
and what lies were told, and undocumented letters being sent to the police chief and to the councilman. People who don't have the intestinal fortitude to sign their name to accusations, they're going to have to be held accountable and step up. I'm going to find out who they are.
Again, that was from the Buddy Cianci program, not mine, last week. Other than voting no on this contract, what did you do to obstruct the process?
Well, I certainly tried to obstruct the contract, I will agree, by voting no against it and arguing against it. But I think this is just more smoke and mirrors. It's more harassment, and it's designed not only at the two of us, but I think to every elected official in the state. You know, don't mess with us. We're gonna make your life miserable. So the next time there's a police contract, maybe they'll push a few people on the fence over the fence. So I think it's just outrageous. I think it's an abuse, and I would hope that the union members in that police local, the majority of whom I think are honest, good officers, that they would set their union straight.
All right. Last word?
My
real quick.
position,
Real
I
quick.
think the lawsuit's frivolous. I did my job as an elected official. I cast my vote.
Yeah, I mean, all right, well, stay tuned. Where's this going to go? Where's this going?
I don't know.
You're going to have to get another police chief sooner or later.
Right.
All right, it's all about a bunch of tickets. All right, we come back. Your state of mind. Thanks, Tony.
Bye.
Your state of mind is important. Here's how you offer it. You call me at 228-1886. We'll play your comment on the air. State of mind at myritv.com is the email, and you can tweet and Facebook post at Dan Yorke Show, Yorke. Here's a tweet from, or an email, I believe, from Patrick, who refers to the Chris Christie thing from last week. And he writes, "This is how a leader gets out in front of an issue and deals with it head on in a professional way. Alan Fung, take notice." Yeah, I mean, Alan Fung's got a bunch to take notice of right now. What can I say? We'll be back on it tomorrow. We'll be right here at 7:30 on My State of Mind. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. Bye.